She'd been sailing for 19 and 5/8 days, past glaciers of melted plastic, through fields of green, glowing ice that burned her eyes. She had seen no other living soul upon the water. She hoped it would stay that way. She would have sailed right past the tower and never once looked back. But, as it was, life intervened. And that was all it took to change everything. To change the entire world. Well, at least what was left of it.
What's going on, guys? Bart here with Tully Television, and today we're going to be getting into a comic book review. But before we get into all that, I want to thank all of my returning viewers, and I'd like to thank all the newer viewers for sticking by, liking, sharing, commenting, all that beautiful YouTube stuff. I hope that today is the day I earn your subscription. If so, you hit that red subscribe bar down below. You mosey on over to that bell notification, you hit that, and you never miss an episode of Tully Television. But let's get into today's topic, a review of Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, issue 6. This title is broken up into 15 issues, and each 5 issues, the first 5 issues are collected into book 1. The next 5 issues are collected into book 2 here, which is starting with this issue. And the last 5 issues go into book 3. The first 5 issues show how our characters Esmeralda and Maceo met and fell in love. From the looks of it, these next 5 issues are going to be a couple of years later from when they initially met and started falling in love to their adulthood, their young adulthood, middle adulthood. And I'm assuming that the last 5 issues are going to be where we see them older, like at the end of episode 5, or issue 5, where they're older and have to face a new threat together. But the name of the book 2 is called The Rise and Fall of Golgonooza. 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 And this title of this particular issue is A Beautiful Fucking World. Written by Jason Aaron, illustrated by Leila Del Duca, colored by Tamara Bonvillain, which is actually a really cool last name. And pages 1 and 26 were illustrated by Alexandre Tefenegy and colored by Lee Lowridge, some artists that worked on the first 5 issues. Now, basically, this picks up where Esmeralda is following the instructions to where that old man ranger had come across the oasis, so to speak, in the wasteland. They decided to go on this journey together after they took out the wasteland rangers and Ma. And in this issue, we see the conversation she had with the old man ranger about how he felt she wasn't worthy of knowing where the oasis was because he considered her a traitor to the Wasteland Rangers, even though he wasted all his life for them. And then she ended up taking him out at the end of that conversation. And here we pick up kind of where we left off, but we come across them a couple years later, because this has been happening for a couple years now, this journey to find the Oasis. And I guess I should warn now that there's going to be nudity in this comic book, so if you're not interested in seeing comic book nudity, you can find another video, I guess, here on Tully Television. But here we basically see them doing the whole mommy-daddy dance with each other, and they happen to be right in the middle of, the apocalypse here. There's really nowhere for them to really go outside of wherever they can lay their heads at. And at some point, Maceo jokes about how their legs are so intertwined they don't know who's who, and they just melt into each other. And I think that anyone who has experienced love and physical intimacy with someone has been through that, right, through the honeymoon phase, so to speak. And you just want to make love like jackrabbits everywhere, anywhere you can, and it's exciting and new and dirty, but you're in love too, all this, or maybe more in lust. I don't know. Once the polish wears off, that's when you'll find out, right, guys and girls? But yeah, so they pretty much, wherever they go, Esmeralda asks Maceo to marry her. Will you marry me? In the middle of this broken bridge, in the middle of this airplane swamp, in the middle of the Grand Canyon. And here they come across a tub that's randomly there, and they decide to heat it up with some kindling and take a hot, warm bath. And Maceo happens to mention to her, we've been doing this for a while, so if you're getting to a point where you feel like you don't want to do this anymore, or maybe we just took a wrong turn somewhere here or there, and we can just build house here, right? And Esmeralda was like, as much as we'd love to do that, I think that we know better. We have to find this oasis so we can live happily ever after and not worry about dying out in these elements. And so he basically agrees, and so Esmeralda puts on her headphones once again and tries to lead them to the promised land, so to speak. And again, it takes them through wastelands of where they can't breathe the air or drink the water, and then they meet people who have been out in the wastelands for so long that they're basically nuts, and groups of bad people doing bad things to others and everything. And this is what they're seeing, and this is how they've been living out in the wild like animals, so to speak. And then finally they make camp up in this cave, and they meet this person. I just want to make sure I get this name right. Because this person winds up, I think, becoming a more of an important character here, and also down the road. But oh man, what's her name? Alright, anyway, I want to say her name is... Why can't I find her name? Anyway, they come across this lady, other woman out in the wild, and they take her in, right, and feed her and keep her dry and everything. And she wants to know why. And Esmeralda explains that if it wasn't for Maceo taking her in and trusting her initially, that she'd still be living like a savage with the Wastelanders. And so it was only right to trust you because someone took a chance on me. And then they wind up getting it on with Maceo right here. Now, initially, I got a little upset because it was like, what the hell, man? Like, is that something he wanted to have happen? And as they say goodbye to her, Esmeralda does ask Maceo if that bothered him. And he was like, no, I wanted you to have your moment and feel comforted by that person. And so it didn't bother him as much as I would have initially been bothered. And I guess I can't be mad for him if he's not bothered by it. But I guess in the end of the world, there's really no rules on how this is supposed to happen or anything like that. And as fate would have it, they meet a couple more people down the road, and they, have a little four-way, and Maceo decides to check things out. And here they are, and you can see Esmeralda getting really frustrated with the whole thing and reminiscing about her conversation with the old man Ranger and him taunting her. And she really just was at this point at her last breaking point, you know what I mean, of trying to find this oasis. But finally, she decides to break the Walkman because she thinks she found the big yellow rock, right, and these vines, and she cuts through them, and she tells Maceo they found the oasis, and that's livable because the plants in there that are coming out of the windows are green. And so they finally go in and realize that this is where they're going to set up shop. This is going to be Golga Noza, all right? Basically a place where they're going to build together and make a home. And we'll see basically how that goes down the road, because we'll have about 4 more issues to see where this goes, this particular aspect of the story. It seems like they're becoming very much wanting to be pillars of a community. They seem to want to build to a future, and they're willing to be the Adam and Eve, so to speak, right? In this scenario, and in this garden of Golga Noza, instead of the Garden of Eden, so to speak. And it seems like if they run this place and there's people that live there, they'll be very open to a lot of experimentation and this and that. Maybe some device building by Maceo, maybe some survival training by Esmeralda, teaching the ways of the book, right? That Wastelanders book that she destroyed. But that's Once Upon a Time at the End of the World, issue 6. You let me know down below what you've been thinking of this series so far. I personally like it. I am interested in seeing what those beings from the first 5 issues wanted with this Golga Noza area, and how they found out, and is it even still up and functioning all those decades later from them being so old. So yeah, there'll be some interesting questions to be answered, and probably new questions that will arise. But until next time, peace, Nookums.
Outside. Everybody.